I was originally planning to post a video on a project I have going on here. I was in the process of prepping this area to plant these 3 of these papayas that are here, but the project turned out to be a lot more work than I thought, so I'll have to postpone that for another time. Instead, I thought I would give you an update on my backyard orchard. Initially, I thought I would be able to get all of these in one video, but that would be too long, so I'll be making this part 1 of a 2-part tour. I'll take you through my orchard and give you a tour of some of the fruit trees that are starting to set fruit. Before we get started though, I'd like to mention that the majority of the trees that I'm going to be showing you, I have previously posted videos on my YouTube channel. You can search and you can see how the trees were planted and how the area was prepped, and a little bit of detailed information on the trees that I'm going to be showing you. First one up are these 2 here, my apple trees. They're going to be planted here in this area. I'm going to train them to grow espalier trees here. I'm going to wait till I harvest the fruit off these trees before I plant them in the ground. This one here is the Anna apple. It's got about 10 apples that are forming on there. That's more down here. The Dorset, this is a Dorset Golden. This one's got over 30, and I've already thinned it a little bit. It's a heavy producer, but they're both doing good. It's a 15-gallon container in the Dorset, and the Anna has a little bit smaller pot. So the fruit, it's not that big. I don't expect it to get that big, at least not until I put it in the ground, but they're not doing bad for container growing apples. The next one here is my Meyer Lemon tree. It's putting on quite a bit of fruit. More here. More here. Some more up here. A few bigger ones over here. Got them scattered throughout. It's pretty good amount. This tree's about 5 years old. Started putting out fruit when it was about 2 years old. I didn't allow it to set I thinned it off when it was 2. It tried to put out fruit, but I thinned it out, and I waited till the following year when it was about 3 years old. So it put out, I think last season it put out about 50 to 60, and there's a decent amount on it. It's gonna try and set some more, probably sometime around in June or so. It'll probably set another crop, but it's doing pretty good on this first one here. So I'll probably wind up in the season getting probably 60 or so. Not bad for a container growing tree. The next one is my Cara Cara Orange tree. It's only been in the ground for about 3 months. The leaf damage you see here are from some slugs that were attacking this tree. I have this tree and a grapefruit tree. They got attacked by slugs. Came out at night and found a whole bunch of slugs on them. And I noticed that some of the other trees that I have that have the whitewash didn't get attacked. So I'm experimenting right now. I came back and I put some whitewash. That's a horticultural hydrated lime mixed with water. I'm not sure if the slugs just don't like that and they're not climbing up the tree because of it or what. But I came out, I did it a couple nights ago, and I've been coming out and checking, and I haven't found any slugs on the tree since I did the whitewash on this one and one of the grapefruit trees that I'll show you in a bit. Shortly after planting this tree in the ground, it put out a whole bunch of buds. I'll put a picture of what it looked like back when it was flowering, but it had flowers just about on every branch. But as you can see, there are very few that appear to be setting. There's just a few of them scattered throughout the tree. And if you look at that picture by comparison, it doesn't look like it's putting out a whole lot of fruit compared to all the buds that it had. But that's not bad for only being in the ground for such a short period of time. I'm sure next year it'll do much better, and it's probably a good thing that it's not going to be putting out a heavy crop, so it'll focus its energy on establishing a good root system. And this next one is my Eureka Lemon. I've already harvested several lemons off this tree. The ones that I harvested were pretty good size. They're much bigger than the ones you see here, but it's not bad. This tree has also only been in the ground for about 3 months. It's still putting out buds and still got a little bit of flowering to go, but it's doing pretty good. The lemons that were harvested off this tree, they're real juicy, and the one thing I liked about it was that they don't have a whole lot of seeds, not compared to the some of the other varieties like the Lesbian. I used to have one of those, and the one thing, it did have a lot of seeds. This one doesn't have as many. Okay, next group of trees are my stone fruit. These were planted, most of them were planted back in December, back when they were dormant. They had minimal branching. I'll put a picture of what they look like when I planted them, but they put on quite a bit of growth since then. First group here, that's an apium in the front, and the two in the back are apricot trees. The apium didn't put any fruit on this year, but it looks like next year might set some fruit. It's put on quite a bit of growth. This one here has about 5. They're about this size here. They're scattered throughout the tree. Didn't put a whole lot in. There's another one. And there's another one. There's one in the back and another one over here. Didn't put a whole lot on. This one is a Blenheim apricot. It's put on quite a bit. I already actually thinned about 25 to 30, and it's still got quite a few on there. And it looks like I'm gonna have to come back and do a little bit more thinning on it, but it's doing really well. The next group over here, that's Spicy Z Nectar Plum in the front. It's got about 4 on there. They're starting to set, or they've already set. It's starting to develop into a fairly good size. There's a couple more somewhere in there. Here in the back, that's a nectarine, Saze King nectarine tree. It's setting a few. Here's one. Another one. There's another one here. It's just starting to set. It's not. Doesn't look like it's going to have a big fruit set, but it's starting to set some. Last season, I had a problem with peach leaf curl on this. Got infected really bad and wound up losing a lot of leaves, so it didn't get any fruit off of it last year. Back in December, when it was dormant, I sprayed it with some copper fungicide, and then I sprayed it again just before it broke dormancy in early February, and it looks like it did the trick, because there were a couple of leaves, but I already took them off, but I haven't found any more. So it looks like it's not gonna have a problem with the leaf curl this year. This last one in this group here is the Snow Queen nectarine. It was the last to break dormancy, so it's a bit early to tell if and how many fruit it's going to set. It's just starting to leaf out. Yeah. Don't look like it's going to be a big fruit set for this one. But these trees haven't been in the ground very long, so maybe next year will be a better season for them. And this other group here, the last of the stone fruit, these are my peach trees. That's a 4-on-1 peach tree here in the front. And this is an Eva's Pride, has 1. And Desert Gold has 3 of them. One more back here. The other, the Mid Pride and May Pride, those two didn't set any fruit. Only the Eva's Pride and the Desert Gold managed to set fruit. This one here in the back is the Babcock white peach tree. Has a few starting to set. A few more up here. Looks like it's got a few that are on there. I've already thinned about 15 off of this tree, so I'm gonna probably let these reach maturity. This last one here was the last one to break dormancy. This is Santa Barbara peach tree, so it's a bit early for this one to see if it's gonna set any fruit or not. I have to give it about another week or 2. Next up are the cherry trees. That's a mini royal on the left and a royal Lee on the right. The mini royal broke dormancy about 2 weeks before the royal Lee. It started to flower a couple of weeks before. And it's set a few. Here's one, here's a couple more. Still has, I think this is going to be about the last of the flowers. There's some more up here. There's a few scattered throughout the tree. These trees have only been in the ground for about 3 months. This one here is still got a few flowers. I don't have a whole lot of bee activity in my backyard for some reason this season, so I wound up hand pollinating using a paintbrush. So hopefully I'll be able to get some fruit off of these so I can sample them. I've never had any of this Royal Lee or the Mini Royal, so I'd like to sample a little bit of the fruit. Hopefully it'll wind up setting some. This one's running 2 weeks behind, so don't know if any of these are going to set. Hopefully they will. And the next one is the semi-dwarf grapefruit tree that I mentioned before, that had been attacked by slugs. And you can see this is the Rio Red variety. It's at quite a bit of blooms. There's where it got attacked by the slugs. But it looks like it's gonna set quite a bit of fruit on this one. Still has some grapefruit on it from the last bloom, the last time it bloomed. There's still a few on there. They're pretty good size. And here you can see the ones that are setting. Still has some flowers, but there's quite a bit that are looking like they're gonna set. This will probably be the biggest fruit set. Last season it only gave me about 8, and looks like it's going to be a lot more than 8 this season. Here's where I painted it with the whitewash that I talked about before, and I think it's what's keeping the slugs off the tree. Well, that's it for part 1 of this 2-part series. Please be sure to hit the thumbs up if you like this video. I'll be posting part 2 in a few days. We'll have an update on this Suriname cherry tree. This Hass avocado. And a few other trees. If you'd like to follow along, please consider subscribing to my channel. Until next time, grow your own, stay safe, and thank you for watching.